What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And this is how to never pay retail for a motorcycle. Those that follow the channel, you guys probably recognize this bike, 2024 Street Fighter V4. Already getting parts for it, starting to arrive now, but you'll be seeing this bike a lot more on the channel. Now, this video is going to be for new motorcycle purchases, used bike purchases, completely different animal. There are a lot of tactics you can use to get a good deal on a used bike, but this is going to be for new bikes. In a past video, I talked about the running costs for exotic motorcycles, and I actually revealed how much I paid for that Panigale V4, that's a 2023, and I revealed how much I paid for this 2023 Aprilia RS V4, showed the invoice for people who didn't believe me, and a lot of people commented me, DM me on Instagram wanting to know how I got those types of prices for these kinds of bikes. So how much did I pay? For the 2023 Panigale V4, out the door, I paid $24,469. So for those that are familiar with the Panigale V4, you know my out the door price was actually less than the Panigale V4's normal MSRP. And for the Aprilia RS V4, I paid $19,100 out the door, which is just $100 over what the MSRP of 2023 Aprilia RS V4s are supposed to be. The MSRP is supposed to be $18,999. So freight, prep, tax, registration, document fees, whatever other fees are associated, that's all included in my out the door price. So how did I do that? How did I get $3,500 off a Panigale V4? And how did I get $3,400 off an Aprilia RS V4? And for those curious, we got about $2,300 off this Street Fighter as well. And just so we're clear, those figures don't include any savings that I got from choosing a dealership who had very reasonable prep and document fees. For example, on my Panigale V4, when I was shopping around, I was getting out the door pricing $28,500, even over $29,000 out the door for a base Panigale V4. I ended up paying a little under $24,500 out the door. So as you guys can see, the dealership discount, the discount on the MSRP is really only half the story. I really saved more like $400 to $4,500 on the Panigale V4. Just so you guys know, I've used these same tactics to purchase cars before. I bought cars brand new off the lot, drove them for 4 or 5 years, and only lost a couple $1,000s when I go to sell it. Again, that's not a couple $1,000s off the retail I'm talking about. I lost a couple $1,000s off the tax, everything included, the out the door price. So the first thing you need to do, and it's one of the most important parts through this whole process, it's be decisive. You have to know what you want before you start talking numbers with the dealer. Nobody likes their time wasted, including dealerships. If you go to the dealership and you're kind of hemming and hawing, yeah, I want an R1, but maybe I'll buy an S1000 RR. But if the deal is right, I'll buy a Panigale V4. If you go into a dealership with that type of mindset that you don't have your mind made up, why would the dealer spend any time trying to get you the best price possible? You haven't even decided what you want yet. You need to be able to tell the dealer, hey, I want either a 2023 or 2024 Panigale V4S. That's it. I'm not interested in a V4. I'm not interested in a V4R. I want a V4S, brand new, either 2023 or 2024. That's it. And there's many ways to get there. I'll probably do a video on that later on how to decide what motorcycle it is that you want. But the first thing is you need to be decisive. You need to be able to tell the dealer exactly what you want. Now that you know what you want, you can then research what the bikes actually go for. We're really lucky. We have this thing called the internet. We can look up pricing basically across the whole country if we want to. But now that you've narrowed down whatever bike it is that you want, I want a 2023 Panigale V4S, you can search Cycle Trader, search dealer websites, see what the bikes are actually posted for. Are they all posted for full-blown retail? Are you seeing the bike that you want posted for $1,200 off, $1,500 off here and there? This helps you decide what you should pay for the bike. What is a fair price to pay? And what I like to do is while I'm on these dealership websites looking at the exact bike that I want, how much it costs, I'm looking at other bikes under that same brand and seeing if there's any on sale. So for example, if I'm looking for a Panigale V4S, when I look at the dealership's website, I'm going to look at other Ducatis like the Street Fighter V4, the Multistrada, Monster. I want to see, are any of those other bikes under that Ducati brand being posted for a discount? Here we are on Elk Grove Power Sports website. You can see here Panigale V2, full price, full price, full price. See that one on sale, that Desert X. Hyper Motard, Monster on sale, another Monster on sale. You can see here, these are about 10% off or so, maybe a little bit more. See a Multistrada for $3,000 off, that's about 11-12%. So I'll just keep doing this. I'll look through their inventory, see what's on sale and for how much it's discounted. So if I see that, hey, there's Multistrada V4s, there's Diavos from this dealership that are already discounted, they're being advertised with a 8, 10, 12% discount, I know that I can probably get an 8, 10, 12% discount on the bike that I actually want. Now, it's never a guarantee, but it's a good baseline to start. You also want to look for factory incentives. So these are separate from any offer that the dealership can give you. These are incentives offered by the manufacturer itself. They'll usually be, actually they'll always be on the manufacturer's website. Sometimes it's a credit like $1,500 back or $2,000 back on the purchase of a new R1. Sometimes it'll come as a financing promotion. So 0%, 1%, 2% interest, something like that. I bought bikes before with 0% interest because of manufacturer incentives. So that is important too. If you're planning to finance, typically manufacturers will do kind of an either or thing. You'll either get a credit, $1,000 back, or you'll get that promotional rate. Typically promotions come out around the 5th of the month, typically, if the manufacturer releases new promotions every month. Some manufacturers it's quarterly, other manufacturers it's just kind of random. So if you're in a dealership, it's towards the end of the month, there's no current factory incentives for that particular bike that you want, you might want to wait until the next month, until that first week of the month, the 5th or so, to see if the next series of incentives would include the bike that you are looking to buy. Last bit of advice for incentives is if you do see an incentive that applies to you, don't wait on that. Even though manufacturers will typically have an ends date, they'll say you'll get a $1,500 credit on the purchase of a new whatever bike, but it ends December 31st. They can end that promotion early. So don't wait until the last day. If you've decided what bike you want, you found a good dealer, you found one for a good price that's maybe already discounted at the dealer, and now you're gonna get a $1,500 incentive from the manufacturer. So that's gonna be on top of any dealership discounts. Don't wait on that because the manufacturer can end that early. Now, when you're doing your research, you need to be looking at all associated fees, not just the MSRP. Now, for those that have never purchased a new motorcycle before, there's a lot of associated fees when you buy a bike. You have a freight fee, a prep fee, document fee, as well as other administrative dealership fees that you could have. But the one you need to pay attention to most is the prep fee and the document fee. Now, something like freight, that's usually determined by the manufacturer and it's going to be the same across the board. However, I have seen some dealerships try to sneak in like an administrative freight fee on some of their bikes. Prep fees vary wildly for motorcycles. For my Panigale V4 that I just bought a few months ago, the prep fee was $295. That's the cheapest prep fee I've ever seen for a Ducati. I've seen prep fees as high as $795 for Ducatis, but generally speaking, I would say on average, I see about a $500 to $600 prep fee for Ducatis, but as you could see in my example there, my prep fee being $295 and the highest I've seen being $795. Just right there in prep fee, there's a $500 difference there. So even if the MSRP or sell price of the bike is exactly the same, the dealership with the $295 prep fee, if you go with them, you're $500 ahead. When I bought my 2022 Husqvarna Vitpillen 401, that dealership actually had no prep fee on that bike. There was zero prep fee. Document fees I've also seen a little bit of a variance in. The cheapest I've seen for document fees is about $40, and I've seen as high as $200. Be careful here. Sometimes their document fees are not actually labeled as a document fee. They'll have the document fee as $50, and then they'll have another $100 tacked on for like a filing fee or administrative fee. So be careful there. Just because it's not labeled as a line item as a document fee, that's basically what it is. So just right there, looking at fees, if we have a $295 prep fee versus a $795 prep fee, that's $500 savings right there. If we have a $40 document fee versus a $200 document fee, that's another $160 that you're saving right there. So worst case scenario versus best case scenario, you can save $500, $600, $700 just on dealership fees. Most people, they're only concerned with the sell price of the bike. They never look at these other associated fees, which really add up in the end. Taxes and registration, pretty much going to be the same, you know, no matter what, it's just based on your zip code. I have seen people manipulate this as well. They'll register the bike at their sister's house, which is in a area which has a lower tax rate. I've never done that myself. I've heard of people doing that. Before you do something like that, I would certainly consult with a tax professional, make sure you're not doing anything illegal, but I have heard of that, although I've never done that myself. Now we're talking. We figured out what bike it is we want. We know what factory incentives are available, if any. We know what dealerships have the best fee structures. We can now get ready to make our offer. Things like, is it the end of riding season? Is it the end of the model year? Is there a new, whatever bike it is that you're looking for, is a new model coming out? All those things need to be considered as well. Is it the end of the month even? When those factors are in your favor, that can affect your offer as well. You can offer a little bit less for those reasons. So for myself, I typically aim to get about 15% off on a motorcycle, but it depends. It depends on your research. If you go on Cycle Trader and you see that the bike you want is posted all day for 12, 15, even 20% off, just from the get-go, no negotiating, just right out of the gate, 15, 20% off, then you know you should probably ask for a little bit more. So once you figure that out, once you figure out, hey, I think 18% off is a good number for me, especially being the end of the riding season, a new model's coming out, it's the end of the model year, it's the end of the month. If that's what you've landed on, you can go ahead and make your offer. So I've never had any issue making offers through email or through phone. I think going in person might be slightly better if you know that you're kind of a likable person. That might be a little bit better tactic for you, or maybe if you're good looking or something like that, then maybe going in person might be better, but I've never really found that to be an advantage. Just working with the salesman through phone or email, like especially text message, so then that way you've got everything in writing, it's always worked out fine for me. Now, my suggestion is to always make it easy on the dealer, have the stock number ready, have the make, model year, have all that stuff ready for them. So that way they can go ahead and look up the stock number quickly, look up their inventory, make sure that yes, they do still have it, and you can go ahead and leave them with your offer. What I like to do, give them my offer, my 15% offer or whatever the number is, and tell them, hey, you know what, it's an outstanding offer. Until somebody takes this offer, it's outstanding. So you can call me tomorrow, you can call me next week, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. This is an outstanding offer. I want this bike, this model year, this color. This is exactly what I want. You guys have one. If you get to a point where you need to get rid of this bike for some reason, you need to thin out your inventory or whatever, the 2025 model year bikes are coming in, whatever it is, give me a call, send me a text message, I will buy that bike from you. Basically have to make it so your offer benefits the dealership. By you saying it's an outstanding offer, that kind of puts the ball in their court. It gives them a slight advantage, which dealerships are not stupid. They're going to do what's best for the dealership. Their goal is to sell every single item in that on the showroom floor for as much as they can. You have to keep that in mind. So by you telling them, hey, it's an open offer, I can fund it either the same day or the day after, that gives an incentive for the dealership to work with you. If they get in a tough spot where they have some type of quota and they need to just sell one more Ducati that month, they know they have your number. And if they really want to sell it, you'll be there. Usually I'll tell the dealership that if you accept this offer either today, tomorrow, after you ask your sales manager when he comes back from vacation or whatever it is, I will buy that bike. I'm not going to, once you accept the offer, I'm not going to go home and say, oh, well, I need to ask my wife, or let me think about it. I need to talk to my finance guy. None of that stuff. I tell them straight up, if you accept this offer, whenever that is, I can fund you either the same day or the following day. Or if I'm financing the bike, hey, I'll submit the finance paperwork for the 0% promotion or whatever it is. I'll tell them I will be there if you accept the offer. And I think by doing this, by performing this tactic, the dealership's a little bit more comfortable with meeting your terms or getting very close to what your terms are. Dealerships, they don't want you to take their offer and then go shop around to see if somebody else can beat it. That's what they don't want. I mean, that would annoy anybody, especially a dealership. Don't do that. That brings me into my next point. You need to be ready to finance this purchase. You need to be ready to fund it, whether it's cashier's check, wire, if you're gonna finance it, that all needs to be figured out beforehand. What the dealership doesn't wanna hear is, okay, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, we've gone ahead and accepted your offer. What the dealership doesn't wanna hear is, okay, let me move some money around, let me call my finance guy, let me basically give me a couple days. That's not what the dealership wants to hear. They want to hear that you're ready to go now, because remember, they're calling you because they're in a tight spot. They're calling you because doing this deal with you is a net positive for them. So remember that once the deal doesn't become an incentive for them, a positive for them, why would they deal with you? Just to gain another customer? That doesn't work either. I've had people say, if you meet my terms, if you deal with me, then I'll tell all my friends, I'll write a review, I'll do this, I'll do that. The dealership does not care about that. You telling your friends about this great deal you got on this Ducati motorcycle that is a small pool of people who are gonna purchase one anyway, that's not really gonna help the dealership. They want that benefit immediately from dealing with you. So have that funding ready. Don't play games with the dealership. If you don't want games being played with you, then don't play games with the dealer. These dealerships, these salesmen, these sales managers, they are professionals. No matter how smart you think you are, maybe your IQ is higher than the whole sales team at whatever dealership it is that you're working with. Okay, it doesn't matter. These people are professional game players. They do this all day, every day. They've heard everything that there is to hear when dealing with a motorcycle transaction. So don't try to outsmart them, don't try to outgame them. It's not going to work. These people do this every day. So have all your ducks in a row, have all your funding ready, make it an incentive to work with you. I was shopping around for my Panigale V4. I had widened my search basically across the country. I had found a really good deal on a V4 that was located in Maryland. So I had researched what it cost to ship a bike from Maryland all the way to California. It was about $600. So from a financial standpoint, the deal was so good, it still made sense to ship the bike from Maryland to California. The holdup that I had though was it didn't have for whatever reason, this bike didn't have a California emission sticker on it. So it was kind of unclear if I'd be able to register it in California or not. Obviously it wasn't physically or mechanically any different from any other 2023 Panigale V4, but because it didn't have that emission sticker, it kind of soured the deal. But for most of you, you probably don't live in California and don't have to deal with our crazy laws here and stuff, but just to show you, even in a situation like that where I would need to ship the bike across the country, I mean, Maryland to California, that's about as far as you can get. Still only $600 for enclosed shipping. So it is possible to widen your search net pretty wide. Now, and you have to be prepared to hear no. You're gonna hear some dealerships just not even wanna deal with you, not even wanna entertain your offer. That's totally fine. Again, don't take it personal. The dealership, they're just trying to sell their inventory for as much as they can. That's the game. But if you have a serious offer, if it's 12, 15% off, something like that, somebody will eventually take it. The stars kind of need to align. Maybe the dealership gets in a tight spot. Maybe they're dropping the KTM line or something like that. Sometimes the stars do need to align, but if it's a serious offer, somebody will take it. You know, if you're offering 50% off or something like that, nobody's gonna take it. They're just gonna laugh you out of the place. It needs to be serious based on the research that you've done. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Believe it or not, what's also really useful is just not being a jerk. If you don't want the dealership to treat you poorly, don't act like a jerk. I know there's some dealerships that they're just a bunch of no matter what, but generally speaking, most salesmen are pretty cool. They're people too. If you treat them poorly, then why would you expect them to treat you nicely? It's kind of a two-way street there. And the same goes for your offer. If you give the dealer some lowball, just unrealistic offer, then don't you think they're going to give you a counter offer that's also unrealistic and not what you're looking for? They're just matching your energy. So do your research, be nice, don't waste people's time. Always be very considerate of the dealer. Just try to make it as easy as possible for them. I promise you, if you follow these steps, you will be able to get an excellent deal on the next bike that you want. Now, there are some exceptions. I mean, if you're looking at buying some limited edition Ducati or whatever, yeah, this is probably not gonna work, but most of us aren't in that pool anyway. For those that are buying $100,000 motorcycles, you're probably not worried about saving 10, 12, 15% anyhow, but for us regular, just working people, that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 off, it does make a big difference, and it could be the difference between you buying the bike you really want and settling for something else. Always place yourselves in the shoes of the dealership. If the dealer thinks that they're gonna have to deal with your antics for 6, 7, 8 hours, the sales team's going to have to invest a bunch of time in you, and you're probably not even gonna buy the bike anyway, then that's no way to get a good deal on a motorcycle. So be calculated, use your head, be smart, use these tips and tricks that I've given you now. You'll have a very, very pleasant sales experience with most dealers, and you're gonna get the price that you want on your bike. So hope this video was helpful today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can, please like and subscribe. Until next time, see you on the next one.